Welcome back, everyone. Week 7 is in the books, and what a week it was. Big scores, big surprises, and one massive off-the-field headline. We had an engagement this Sunday.
That's right. Love was in the air, points were on the board, and for once, someone actually locked something down on Sunday that wasn't a playoff spot.
Congrats to Lauren and Caroline on their engagement, and condolences to anyone whose fantasy team didn't get a ring-worthy performance this week. From proposals to pick sixes, Week 7 had it all.
That's right. So grab your popcorn, check your standings, and maybe your relationship status too, because it's time for the Week 7 Power Rankings recap. Take it away for number 14. We've got still Blame It on the Juice. Just when we thought the scores wouldn't get any lower, it does by a point, putting up only 60 points this week, which is only 20 more points than CMC's total. Trevor Lawrence kicked his team off with a decent start with 17 points. He had nearly 300 yards throwing and a touchdown, and the Panthers just the defense with 16, but not a single other performance over 8 points. Genty had 4, Henderson had 0.5, Kittle in his first game back had 0, Kendrick Bourne had 3.4, giving Bust of the Week to damn near everyone, but we've got to go with the George Kittle 0-point performance. Now, we've heard through the grapevine that Devonta Smith on the bench of Team Blame It on the Juice and put up 33.3 points was told to be placed on the bench by Team Do It Lady. Uh-oh, big miss.
13 Madam Presidents. Heading into Monday Night Football, Presidents needed Jared Goff to simply just perform as projected. Nothing more, nothing less. And while the Lions has a stress-free win against the Bucks, Jared Goff's fantasy points didn't make it seem like it, okay? Goff threw 241 yards, but only 1 touchdown. Additionally, the missing 1 point that Presidents needed to take it home was the interception he threw. Theo Johnson, however, he had a good day with 66 yards and a touchdown. Theo was targeted 7 times and is easily one of Dart's favorite targets, all right? Jalen Warren and Josh Jacobs all had great games as well. In Week 8, we will see a well-rested Josh Allen return against the Panthers.
Now at number 12, we've got my partner, New Jersey 69ers, falling to 1-6 and just can't seem to get anything going. The CJ Stroud and Nico Collins stack continue to be lackluster with a combined 20 points and a concussion to Nico Collins. The 69ers made an official notice early Tuesday morning, placing Collins on the trading block. We saw a solid return from speed racer hit-and-run criminal Rashee Rice, who put up 7 receptions, 42 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And unfortunately, the Steelers' just defense in the Unk Bowl lost him 4 points, and allowing 33 total points against the Bengals. They had 0 other defensive stats to earn.
That's right. Did suck indeed. At 11, we do have 2 Purdy Hurts. A pretty solid performance here from Hurts with 3 unfortunate players. That was the make or break for the week. Okay, Justin Herbert threw for 420 yards and 3 touchdowns. While he also had 2 interceptions, he still put up 27 points. Javonte Williams and Ramondre Stevenson both had decent performances and found the end zone. CeeDee Lamb, great welcome back game with 110 yards and a touchdown, totaling to 22 points. But what did it do for this team? Losing 2 points was the Giants' defense in their horrendous loss to the Denver Broncos. 6.1 points from Brian Thomas and a big old goose egg from Jameson Williams, who was the only targeted twice.
And at number 10, we have Team Poopy Fart. Holy smokes, it finally happened. The highest scoring game for the league so far this season. Every piece of the puzzle fell perfectly into place for TPF. While Ladd McConkey and Courtland Sutton didn't find the end zone, they still managed to put up 15 points each with multiple receptions each. Chris Olave had a solid game with 5 receptions, 98 yards, and 2 touchdowns, totaling to 26.8 points. DeAndre Swift with 124 yards rushing. I'm going to edit this out. What the fuck did I write?
I don't know. Let's read this.
124 yards rushing. Ready? 3. DeAndre Swift with 124 yards rushing and a touchdown, making this a back-to-back 20-plus point performance for him. Danny Dimes, 288 yards and 2 touchdowns throwing, but the star of the show, Jahmyr Gibbs, 136 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns, and 89 yards receiving.
Absolutely. Now at number 9, a big fall here. Ridley me this Batman. The fall of greatness is happening quickly. The once undefeated team is now on a 2-game losing streak. There was really only one thing this week that kept Batman's score over 100 points, and that was the Browns' just a defense, who put up 24 points. They had a touchdown, 3 interceptions, a fumble recovery, and only allowed 6 points against the horrendous Dolphins.
And now at number 8, we've got Team Snides. Another week of benching Jackson Dart. Another week of him outscoring Caleb Williams. And this week, by a pretty good chunk of points. Next week, the Giants will face back up against the Eagles, and the Bears will face up against the Ravens. Will Jackson Dart find his first Aruga's Fantasy League start? Or will Caleb Williams remain in that spot for another week, or many weeks to come? In 2 weeks' time, Team Snides is expected to have his receivers back in action. Most of his receivers. Josh Downs of the Colts, Christian Kirk of the Texans, and Dalton Kincaid, the tight end of the Bills. Now, we know that projected injury returns have been changing like crazy, but if this holds true, Team Snides' depth could be there, and he could continue to win games.
That is right. And now this does bring us to our top half of the league. At 7, Noah's Nasty picks up the luckiest win of all time. Kareem Hunt had 1.8, Tet only had 6, Luke McCaffrey with 0, Mason Taylor with 6 as well. But the key factors that saved him, the Patriots just a defense, put up 20 points. They had all this in a game, a touchdown, an interception, a fumble recovery, and only 13 points allowed. Lastly, of course, T. Higgins with his best game yet by far in the Unk Bowl on Thursday night with 21 points.
And at number 6, we have Bijan Mustard. An incredible performance here from Bijan Mustard. The 3-game losing streak is over. We saw the return of Chargers wide receiver Quentin Johnson, who had 2 receptions, 30 yards, a touchdown. Jake Ferguson with 7 receptions, 29 yards, 2 touchdowns. Devontae Adams of the Rams, who are now without their star receiver Puka Nacua, with 5 receptions, 35 yards, and 3 touchdowns. And lastly, A.J. Brown, who was acquired in trade number 1, with 4 receptions, 121 yards, and 2 touchdowns, having an absolute monster of a day at 29 points.
Absolutely. And, I feel like we've gone back and forth all season long saying who we think the winner and loser of that trade was. And you know what, Evan? It might have actually been a pretty fair trade as it goes down the line, So congratulations to both of you. Hopefully it stays that way. This does bring us to our top 5. At 5, Poopy Heart's fiance. Smart decisions and good instinct on PFF to start Drake May over Baker Mayfield. Rashid Shaheed took the spot of Zay Flowers, who had a bye week this week, putting up 8 points, which is only 3 below projected. Evan Ingram and Amon-Ra St. Brown both performed exactly as projected, but let's just talk about this Jalen Lane dude. In a last-minute decision to fill a hole with Jacoby Myers being out, PFF took Jalen Lane, the wide receiver, $40 million for the Commanders, and with plenty of Commanders wide receiver injuries, Lane definitely had a shot to perform as projected, and he pretty much did. The Bucs have a bye week for Week 8, so PFF will hope to have Bucky Irving back by Week 9, which is his estimated return.
Indeed. And now at number 4, we have No Balls Allowed, picking up the W and is now 5-2 on the season. No Balls Allowed saw yet another extremely solid performance from JSN with 123 yards, 8 receptions, and a touchdown totaling to 26.3 points. JSN is now also position ranked number 1 for wide receivers. Kayshon Boutte put up 13 points with 55 yards and a touchdown. Like, who even is that guy? And Jaden Daniels, before leaving the game with an injury, put up 156 yards and 2 touchdowns, 1 throwing, 1 rushing. Daniels is currently estimated to miss 1 to 2 weeks, and our backup quarterback Matthew Stafford has a Week 8 bye. So who will No Balls Allowed call up to take the starting spot?
That's a great question, and this is where the waiver wire does get a little tricky, because I know that this player is also looking to pick up a flex spot. This manager is looking to pick up a flex spot, but you also need a quarterback, and you're not high priority on the waiver, so it's going to be a little complicated. Let's see how she responds with this. But at 3, Justice Gang, welcome to the top 3. The 3 and 4 Justice Gang now enters the top 3 and earns this week Manager of the Week.
Woo!
Again! Her start-sit decisions have been spot on, while last week we saw a 22-point performance from Kamani Vidal. Vidal found himself in the bench this week for Jordan Mason, who returned from his bye week. Mason put up 1 touchdown, 57 yards rushing. This team would have seen a 168-point performance having started Bo Nix, who put up 40 points, of Aaron Rodgers, who put up 22. Still a great number. But Rodgers did just enough, Jonathan Taylor continues to dominate for this team, putting up another 3-touchdown game, and Trey McBride with an impressive 30-point fantasy game as a tight end with 2 touchdowns, 74 yards, and 10 receptions.
That's right. An amazing performance, and congrats again. At number 2, we have Team McKenna. Holy smokes, Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase was projected to put up a total of 16 points. He had a total of 16 receptions. He puts up 16 points alone just on receptions. He was targeted 23 times by Joe Flacco. Additionally, he had 161 yards and a touchdown. This total chased to 38 points. Keenan Allen had himself a solid day with 11 receptions, 119 yards, and a touchdown, totaling to 28.9 points. Patrick Mahomes, who's now the quarterback ranked number 1 in fantasy, had 286 yards and 3 touchdowns. The supporting cast actually put up some pretty bad numbers. Kyron Williams didn't have too much to do in the Rams' dominant win against the Jags. Sean Tucker had 1.6. His dual tight end combo combined for only 10 points. The kicker had 5, and the Rams' adjusted defense had 9. But the 3 standout performances alone were enough to score 126 points for this up-and-coming team.
Absolutely. Here we are at 1, and honestly, what else did you expect at this point? Staying at the top, we have Team Do It Lady. I mean, let's be honest, Christian McCaffrey, he's a cheat code, right? He's back to doing what we saw him do 2 seasons ago when he won Offensive Player of the Year. This position-ranked number 1 running back had 129 yards rushing with 2 touchdowns. Okay, he had 7 receptions for 72 yards, getting him over 200 all-purpose yards on the game. This totaled him to 39.1 fantasy points, which is the highest performance we've seen this season. Jalen Hurts threw for 326 yards and 3 touchdowns. Quinshon Judkins, 84 rushing and 3 touchdowns, totaling to 26.4. Wan'Dale Robinson, who was acquired in trade number 4 with 6 receptions, 95 yards, which got him 15.5 points. But what did it for him this week was once again 5 players with single-digit performances. Unfortunately, this week was not enough to do it, lady.
And that's a wrap on Week 7. Rings were earned, hearts were won, and a few fantasy hopes were absolutely shattered.
Mine, yes. Yeah, some managers were celebrating love, while others were just trying to remember what joy even feels like after that Monday night meltdown.
But that's fantasy football. One week you're on top of the world, and in the next, you're wondering if your lineup even likes you anymore.
Congratulations again to our newly engaged managers, Lauren and Caroline.
Now, Week 8 is right around the corner, so rest up, reset, and maybe take some notes from that proposal, because it's time for everyone else to start putting a ring on the win column.